Hello, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. My name is Melina. Today we're going to be doing my April wrap up. So let's open up my handy dandy Remarkable. And I had this all organized because sometimes I forget what I read. And so sometimes I completely forget what I've read throughout the month. So I organized myself this month and I wrote down everything because I really tried to, but sometimes I sit down and I'm like, oh, I did not prep enough for this video. So for this one, I did prep it and I read a total of 10 books. So I did really well this month. I usually read an average of like 6 to 7. I would say 5 to 7, honestly, depending on how long the books were. And I feel like I read a lot of them that were really long. First, let's talk about what I'm currently reading. And I am currently reading Golden Sun by Pierce Brown, and it is really, really good. I haven't finished it yet. I have about 100 pages, so I'm about, I want to say like a little over 75% of the way through, and it's so exciting. It's kind of crazy. I think I mentioned this in one of my vlogs, which I'm not sure if you're gonna get before or after this comes out, but it's kind of like Game of Thrones in space. Like, it is a sci-fi, but it's read like a fantasy, but it's also in the sense of like very political, very schemy, like fighting and war, and the fact that you can't really get attached too easily because of the fact that anyone can die at any point. And that's kind of that nerve-wracking like jitters you get when you read Game of Thrones and watch it. Even it's like you just don't know who's going to survive and who's not, because you'll feel confident sometimes and then it doesn't work out the way you plan it to be, or you know, they throw you in for a loop and you're just like so upset that your favorite character just died. I am really enjoying it, and I definitely will give you more details through my vlog and during my next wrap up. So that is what I'm currently reading. If you guys remember, I did do a TBR jar challenge for the month of April, so all of these books were chosen for me in random, and I actually did really well. I just read, I think, every single book except for the arc that I was planning on reading. I did not read Inferno. I am like 8 chapters in. I was listening to it on audio, but it's just so long. I just didn't have time. So I didn't have time to read Inferno. I did get a few pages in. I want to say, look, I was 37 pages in. So I will finish this in May, at least that's the game plan. And then the final book I did not read for my TBR jar was The Fortunes of Jaded Women. I got an audio loan for this, but then I started it and I realized I just was not in the mood for this, especially after reading The God of the Woods. So I think I'm just gonna put this one back in my TBR drawer and I'm just gonna leave it for another month in the future. I'm just not in the mood for it, and I don't know. I feel like this is not a long book, but I do feel like this is a book you have to be in the mood for to read. So Inferno I'm gonna keep outside of the TBR drawer because I am planning on reading it next month. Actually, I'll put this over there because I don't want to mix it with the books that I did read. So I have my little pieces of paper, and throughout the month I would rip them up as I read them, and all that was left, of course, is the 2. So that kind of made me really excited because I think I picked 8 books, which I thought was really enthusiastic, but I ended up reading some other books that were not TBR jar picks, and that obviously took up some of the space that I would have. So actually I did a good job because I did read 10 books for the month. So I'm gonna put that in front. We're gonna leave that one out. Put this one back in there. And for future months now, I will use this again. And I think I'm gonna do 1 month using a jar and 1 month like mood reading, so I can kind of get through like things I really want to prioritize for myself while also going through my backlog of books. And that's kind of a good idea, I think. So I did not read Inferno either, but I did pretty well. So I start off the month by finishing off The Elf Witch by Jacquelyn Gilmore. It is a fantasy that I started in March and it dragged on forever. It was so long. I got an arc for this and I was just really trying to find the new romantasy or fantasy that people didn't know, and this was just not really it. The world building was super interesting, but it was also all over the place in the sense of like, I feel like it was really confusing, and as someone who has a lot of knowledge on like the mystical fantasy world from all forms of media, for me to be confused for a long period of time and not really understand the powers, the world building, the hierarchy structure, all of it, I felt it a little bit troublesome. And I do think that this book is just not very beginner friendly. I would call it the opposite of beginner friendly. And it kind of sucks because I feel like the last 15% got me interested enough to read the second book, but the fact that I had to get almost 85% through the book to kind of be like, wow, I'm interested now. I literally consider DNFing it at so many points. Usually I'm a person who DNFs after like the 35-40% range in the book, not 30 to 40 pages, 35 to 40% of the overall book. because sometimes it just turns around. Sometimes you're in the mood for it and then you continue reading and you get into it. But this one was really challenging, and I really didn't want to DNF it because I think I already had 1 or 2 DNFs this year, and I just don't really like DNFing books. Like, I will if I have to, but yeah, I don't know. I think I would skip. I will tell you guys to skip it. It's like what people say about, what is it? The assistant to the villain, like that series. Like, people read it and they're like, I don't recommend it to other people because it kind of sucks, but now that I'm in it, I want to continue it. It's like that. Like, I might read the second book, but I wouldn't recommend for anyone to even read the first book. Overall, I rated it a 3.25 stars. Then I got an ARC by Kat Singleton, and I got In Good Company. It is her April release, and it was so much fun. I really needed a light, fluffy romance to make sure I didn't get into a book slump, and this was exactly what I needed. I read this book, I want to say, in like 2 days, maybe. I think I started like late one night, and I was already like 20 or 30% in really quickly. And it was just a fun billionaire romance. I don't think there was much depth, but I feel like if you're looking for like an easygoing, fast-paced romance, I think this was the perfect like palette cleanser for anything else. I ended up rating it at 3.5 stars. I have personally not read that many of her books, and I know this is a new series, so maybe like this one just wasn't for me, or this trope was not for me, because it's not badly written, and I really was looking forward to reading some of the other people in the friend group that I think are going to get their own standalones. But yeah, to be determined. I ended up rating this at 3.5 stars. And then I started with the beautiful, highly rated The Favorites. I love this book. This was one of my 5-star reads of 2025. This is a historical fiction with a romance secondary plot line. I wouldn't go into this thinking it's a romance novel. It's not. It's a literary historical fiction. No, it's not. It's not. I don't even know. Yes, it is a historical fiction with lots of drama and a very dysfunctional romance that you're kind of rooting for these people to be together, but they're also kind of toxic for each other at the same time, and that's an interesting like dynamic to read through. I feel like if you are a lover of Gossip Girl for the drama, or a lover of Magnolia Parks for the drama, you would enjoy this, but they're not the same at all. I would actually consider this to be more of a crossover of Carrie Soto is back and Daisy Jones and the Six. Daisy Jones and the Six more for the format and the layout, and kind of getting the perspectives of like other people in this sports world, and then you would read firsthand from the perspective of the main character. This is about 2 people who are ice skate partners, and basically their journey from being like the bottom of the barrel to being some of the best. And it's really fun because it starts from the beginning where you kind of have an idea that they achieve their goal at being the best, and then it goes to the beginning. I ate it up. It was so addicting. It was so like, I was obsessed with it, but I also really like Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I think if you like her as an author, then you will enjoy this. It's not as flowery of a writing. Like, I think TJR has a better writing style, but it was really good. It's like it was so fun. Like, I really just enjoyed it, and it was different than like a romance, and I don't particularly read a lot of historical fiction, but so I get excited when I find something that really piques my interest. That is not TJR. So 5 stars for me. Then I went in and I read The Reappearance of Rachel Price. This was something that I listened to on audiobook for my book club, and I really enjoyed it. It's written by Holly Jackson, so if you like The Good Girl's Guide to Murder, I think you would like this. It's a little bit darker, so think maybe the 3rd book in The Good Girl's Guide to Murder, not the 1st or the 2nd one so much, but similar writing style. It's about this mother who disappears and leaves her daughter in a car, and then 16 years later she appears again, and so there's kind of this mystery of things not adding up between what she says and like the mystery of when she actually disappeared. And so her daughter feels a little suspicious from the get-go and starts kind of digging up clues to try to figure out what actually happened. Why did she actually disappear? Why did she actually come back? What is she hiding? Is she actually hiding anything? And it's really fun. It's fast-paced, and I feel like Holly Jackson just does really good YA. I don't know if this is even YA, but it's kind of bordering on that line. Like, I feel like a high schooler could read this and it would be fine. So I feel like this is like a YA thriller. So it was kind of cool to see that she did something really well other than A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, because this is my first time reading something outside of that trilogy, and I ended up rating it a 4 star. After that, I read The Kingdom of the Wicked. Now, this is a trilogy that I've had on my shelf for a very long time. I binge bought the whole series after people raved about it. It is a YA fantasy or romantasy series. I would say it's a YA fantasy. I don't think there's much. I mean, there is romance, but it's like a very subplot, and it's not like professing their undying love for each other, so it's more like a flirtation, you know. This follows a witch, and her name is Amelia, and after her, so I didn't read the back of the book when I went into this, so I didn't really know what it was about. I knew it had to do with like demons in the underworld, but that's it. So I didn't realize this was like a fully fledged out fantasy. So this takes place in Italy, and our main character and her sister are both witches in one of the strongest households in their like village or city. And when her twin sister ends up dying, she ends up getting murdered. She goes to hunt down who her killer is and find out why he killed her, and also finding out there's also this other side plot mystery of why a whole bunch of other witches are getting hunted down. And so she teams up and like she calls upon a demon, not realizing that is one of the strongest demons in the underworld, and basically she gets his help to kind of along the way. And so I can't say too much because obviously after that it becomes like true plot, but I will say it took a little while for me to get into it. I think it's just me being distracted with like things going on in my personal life. But about maybe, I want to say like 50 pages in, it picks up and it's so much better. I feel like it keeps you at the edge of your seat, guessing and wanting to know what's happening. What are the motivations of all the characters, and where is it going to end, like lead? And this book at the end ended on such a cliffhanger. I already know that I'm going to read the next one next month, like for May, throughout May, and I really enjoy this. I ended up rating this at 3.75 stars just because some of the writing made it a little confusing to like stay drawn in. And I think it's a series that just is going to continue to build up as you continue reading. So it was like almost a 4-star for plot and like characters and stuff like that, but the writing kind of drew me off a little bit. And maybe it's because this is YA. I don't think so. I think just something about the writing threw me off. I think it's because it's like sometimes the first book in a trilogy, like you're trying to find your footing into how to world build this world in the best way possible, and I feel like that's that. But 3.75 stars, and I actually do recommend it even though it is not a 4-star. I really just feel like it's just gonna get better, especially with the way the ending was. After Kingdom of the Wicked, I read Ace of Spades, and this, I didn't know what it was either. I think I told you guys that I thought this was gonna be like a dark academia fantasy or something like that. It is not. It is a YA thriller, and it follows these two students who are graduating from this really wealthy prep school. So the female, I think her name is Chia, or they call her Chai. She is like a very wealthy mixed race female character, and she's like the president of the school, like, you know, like there's president in the student council. She's the president. She goes through all the clubs. She has like super great grades, and she has like dreams of going to like Ivy League school. On the flip side of this, there is Devin, who is a scholarship student kid in this school, and when they randomly start receiving like these text messages around the school kind of blasting them for these secrets and like outing them for very suspicious things, it seems to be, I mean, I feel like they just try to figure out like, who is this person who's trying to ruin my life. This book is very sad, it's very twisted, it's very dark. It does make you feel all of the things. It's written so well. I need to look up and see what else that they've written because it was really, honestly, so phenomenal. You feel disgusted by the end of this, and you feel so just many emotions, and a book that could take so many emotions out of you that's not just like swoon worthy, I feel like always gets rated higher, like something that elicits some sort of reaction from me that's just really extreme. Like I felt so many emotions while reading this, and I literally couldn't finish it fast enough because I just needed to know how this was going to wrap up, and I feel like it wrapped up in almost the best way possible. I really enjoyed this. I can't say too much without giving it away, but this was a really great YA thriller. I ended up rating it a 4.25 stars. After that, I've read Rules for Being a Girl. Again, a lot of these are all like TBR jar picks because I was trying to get through them and actually succeed. This is a Candace Bushnell book, and for those of you who don't know, she is the one who wrote Sex and the City, and she also wrote the Carrie Diaries books. This is co-written by someone else. I don't know who they are, but this follows a girl who is in high school, and she's trying to get into a good college, and she is like, again, like very image based, and she really cares about like, you know, dating the right people, dressing the right way, and all this stuff. But when something happens inappropriately with a teacher, and well, something inappropriately happens between her and a teacher, and she kind of goes through the thoughts of like, what should she do next? Should she tell somebody? Should she tell an adult? Should she go to the police? Should she tell her friends? Like, what is the appropriate response for this? And because of that, I feel like she feels more empowered and learns to be more of a feminist. And I really like this. And I think this is a book, if I were my high school self, I would have loved this. I feel like it has the drama you want. It has so many different aspects that you want in a series, like in a book like this. I feel like it's really well written, easy enough for a high school student, but also really tackles some really challenging things that are very just realistic. It just happens in today's world. I really like this a lot. I think I would have rated it higher if I read it if I was younger, but I think that this is a book that would be a great for like a high school girl of any age. I rated this 4 stars though. Then I read another arc, and it was Tumbling Over the Tight End. This was technically the final book in a standalone trilogy that follows like these 3 siblings. I think they're called the Beaumont Legacy. Their parents were all like very successful athletes, and from there on, basically, it seems like they were each pressured to kind of also become an athlete. So, and then they find their person throughout the way. This one follows the youngest sibling of the 3 of them, and he is a football player. He is a tight end on a football team, and it also follows the cheerleader who plays on that same team. And it's kind of it's always been you, but also like a strangers to friends to lovers. It is a forbidden romance. It's another fun romance. I feel like I liked certain things about it. Like, our main female character was really into, like, has struggled with people pleasing and struggled with confidence issues and struggled with saying no to people. And I get that because it's something that I personally struggled with myself. But I did find that they kept running into the same conflicts with her, where she would run away from her issues and the guy was constantly chasing after her. And it kind of frustrates me because you see his growth from being like the cocky jock who gets all the girls, and then to like realizing that's not really what he wants, to being interested in this girl and making the proper changes to be a supportive person in her life. And I felt like he was constantly chasing after her while there was very little growth on her end. And it was a little frustrating because even in the end, when she messed up, he was the one who apologized, and I'm like, bro, like, you didn't do anything wrong. In reality, she should have stepped up and been the bigger person and apologized for messing up or for not taking the relationship seriously, or, you know, I don't know. So I felt a little bit conflicted because that frustrates me. I feel like I love a down bad boy, but it also has to be realistic in the sense that sometimes the girl messes up too. And in this sense, I felt like she messed up and never owned up to her actions. And it kind of just frustrated me. I ended up rating it a 3.5 stars. Then I read Emily Wilde's Encyclopaedia of Faeries, which is great because this was a book, a 25 in my 2025. So that was kind of fun. And this was an interesting read. I went into this knowing that it's just a cozy fantasy, which it was. I did not expect it to have like murder and like killings. The writing did take a little while to get used to because it's very like analytical. It feels almost like you're reading a research paper, like kind of sort of. The romance is barely a romance in this. Like there's no real romance. There's like interest, and the way that I guess there is a romance, but the way that unfolds is I didn't love it. I kind of wish it was more. It's a trilogy, so I kind of wish they slow burned it more throughout the 3 books instead of the way that it happened. Like, if you care about spoilers, skip like 10 seconds. He does ask her like if they want to get married. They had no romantic like anything building up to that. Like, it just seemed like you could tell that he cared about her as a friend, but not anything more than that. So it was frustrating to see like that weird progression. Other than that, I really enjoyed it, and I actually am looking forward to the 2nd book. I think this is another book that I think I'm going to like as the series continues, now that I know the main characters. And finally, last but not least, I read God of the Woods. And the God of the Woods was the book of the, what is it called? The book of the month, book of 2024. Like, this won the award for the best book that they offered. And I understand why. Now, I understand why people don't like this, because people went into this thinking it's a mystery or it is a thriller, and people read that genre. This is not a normal, typical mystery thriller. I would put go into this thinking it is a literary fiction with a mystery subplot. It is slow paced. It is not, I mean, I just feel like it talks about many things that are just not like had nothing to do with the mystery itself. Like, yes, a girl goes missing, and so there's people trying to figure out where she went, what happened, who's behind it, and all that stuff. But at the same time, there's also the issue of, like, they talk a lot about like societal norms and how the wealthy get away with everything and how it's like to live like a woman and how that's different from being a man. And this book takes place in the 1970s, so you have to put yourself into that mindset. But I really enjoyed this. If you like literary fiction, I think you'll like it. Just, you have to go into the mindset that that's what this is, because maybe if you go into it thinking this is going to be a thriller, you will be disappointed. It's not fast paced, and as a mystery, it is a mystery, but it's kind of like a slow mystery again. Like, I feel like this gives me literary fiction. Like, this is a good book that you could read at any point. This is not like a fall thriller. This is like camp. You know, it takes place during a summer camp. And again, I really enjoyed... Sorry, my camera died. I kind of lost my train of thought. But anyways, go into this thinking that this is a literary fiction, and I think you'll really enjoy it. I ended up rating this a 4 point... I don't know if it was a 4.25 or a 4.5. I actually forgot to write it down. I would rate it off the top of my head a 4.25 though. But I really enjoyed it. It is a chunky one, and some people, like, their biggest gripe was the fact that it was a little too long, but I enjoyed it. And that right there marks my 10 books in April. I don't know whether I want to do, like, I don't know what I'm going to do for May. Off the top of my head, I'm thinking of doing a mood read TBR, like just choose what I want. But I feel pretty proud of myself. I finished so many paperback books, and I'm almost done with Golden Sun. Today's April 30th, and so I will finish it probably by today. So it will be an April book, but I'll give you my final thoughts next month. But these are the books that I read in April. And I'm pretty proud of myself because I think I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 paperback books, which is crazy. I did buy 5 books this month. It was just, April's a big month for books, and so it's kind of exciting to get so many. But I still am -1 for me, so yay me. But that's it for me, and I'll see you guys next week.